Canto 17, Circle 7, Round 3, the violent against art, and Geryon. Now see the sharp-tailed beast that mounts the brink. He passes mountains, breaks through walls and weapons. Behold the beast that makes the whole world stink. These were the words my master spoke to me, then signaled the weird beast to come to ground close to the sheer end of our rocky levee. The filthy prototype of fraud drew near, and settled his head and breast upon the edge of the dark cliff, but let his tail hang clear. His face was innocent of every guile, benign and just in feature and expression, and under it his body was half reptile. His two great paws were hairy to the armpits. All his back and breast and both his flanks were figured with bright knots and subtle circlets. Never was such a tapestry of bloom woven on earth by Tartar or by Turk, nor by Arachne at her flowing loom. As a fairy sometimes lies along the strand, part beached and part afloat, and as the beaver up yonder in the guzzling German's land squats halfway up the bank when a fight is on, just so lay that most ravenous of beasts on the rim which bounds the burning sand with stone. His tail twitched in the void beyond that lip, thrashing and twisting upon the envenomed fork, which, like a scorpion stinger, armed the tip. My guide said, "It is time now we drew near that monster," and descending on the right, we moved 10 paces outward to be clear of sand and flames. And when we were beside him, I saw upon the sand, a bit beyond us, some people crouching close beside the brim. The master paused. "That you may take with you the full experience of this round," he said. "Go now and see the last state of that crew. But let your talk be brief, and I will stay and reason with this beast till you return, that his strong back may serve us on our way." So further yet along the outer edge of the 7th circle I moved on alone, and came to the sad people of the ledge. Their eyes burst with their grief. Their smoking hands jerked about their bodies, warding off now the flames and now the burning sands. Dogs in summer bit by fleas and gadflies, jerking their snouts about, twitching their paws, now here, now there, behave no otherwise. I examined several faces there among that sooty throng, and I saw none I knew. But I observed that from each neck there hung an enormous purse, each marked with its own beast, and its own colors like a coat of arms. On these their streaming eyes appears to feast. Looking about, I saw one purse display azure on or a kind of lion, another, on a blood-red field, a goose whiter than whey. And one that bore a huge and swollen sow, azure on field argent, said to me, "What are you doing in this pit of sorrow? Leave us alone. And since you have not yet died, I'll have you know my neighbor Vitaliano has a place reserved for him here at my side. A Paduan among Florentines, I sit here, while hour by hour they nearly deafen me, shouting, 'Send us the sovereign cavalier with the purse of the 3 goats.'" He half arose, twisted his mouth, and darted out his tongue, for all the world like an ox licking its nose. And I, afraid that any longer stay would anger him who had warned me to be brief, left those exhausted souls without delay. Returned, I found my guide already mounted upon the rump of that monstrosity. He said to me, "Now you must be undaunted. This beast must be our stairway to the pit. Mount it in front, and I will ride between you and the tail, lest you be poisoned by it." Like one so close to the quaternary chill that his nails are already pale and his flesh trembles at the very sight of shade or a cool rill, so did I tremble at each frightful word. But his scolding filled me with that shame that makes the servant brave in the presence of his lord. I mounted the great shoulders of that freak and tried to say, "Now help me to hold on," but my voice clicked in my throat and I could not speak. But no sooner had I settled where he placed me than he, my stay, my comfort, and my courage and other perils, gathered and embraced me. Then he called out, "Now, Geryon, we are ready. Bear well in mind that his is living weight, and make your circles wide and your flight steady." As a small ship slides from a beaching or its pier backward, so that monster slipped back from the rim. And when he had drawn clear, he swung about, and stretched out his tail, he worked it like an eel, and with his paws he gathered in the air, while I turned pale. I think there was no greater fear the day Phaethon let loose the reins and burned the sky along the great scar of the Milky Way, nor when Icarus, too close to the sun's track, felt the wax milk unfeathering his loins and heard his father cry, "Turn back, turn back," than I felt when I found myself in air, afloat in space with nothing visible but the enormous beast that bore me there. Slowly, slowly he swims on through space, wheels and descends, but I can sense it only by the way the wind blows upward past my face. Already on the right I heard the swell and thunder of the whirlpool. Looking down, I leaned my head out and stared into hell. I trembled again at the prospect of dismounting, and cowered in on myself, for I saw fires on every hand, and I heard long lamenting. And then I saw, till then I had but felt it, the course of our down spiral to the horrors that rose to us from all sides of the pit. As a flight-worn falcon sinks down wearily, though neither bird nor lure has singled it, of the falconer crying out, "What, spent already?" then turns and in 100 spinning gyres sulks from her master's call, sullen and proud. So to that bottom lit by endless fires the monster Geryon circled and fell, setting us down at the foot of the precipice of ragged rock on the 8th shelf of hell. And once freed of our weight, he shot from there into the dark like an arrow into air.